Every year, millions of sensitive records are exposed in data breaches. To manage these risks, the public currently relies on internal compliance teams, the employees hired by the companies holding the data. This creates a conflict of interest. Compliance officers report to corporate executives, whose primary goal is often to maximize the utility of user data rather than restrict it. In this closed loop, executives set the security budget, and the compliance team reviews the internal results. This allows a company to define its own security parameters and effectively grade its own homework. The vulnerability here is structural. Without a mechanism for external oversight, there is no objective way to verify if their data protections actually meet public safety standards. On June 6, 2026, the Foundation of Data Protection Professionals in India, or FDPPI, held its First Induction program to address this lack of oversight. This program marked the launch of a specific professional class, the Independent Data Auditor, or AIDAi. Rather than a standard training seminar, the summit gathered industry veterans to establish the first operational standards for this new role. The introduction of the AIDAi provides a structural alternative to corporate self-policing, placing the responsibility for verification in the hands of a third party. For an auditor to resist corporate pressure, they must adhere to a strict code of ethics. This code is designed to ensure their primary loyalty remains to the data subjects, not the company paying the fee. Beyond ethics, the role requires specialized technical training. Institutions like the Myra School of Business are now developing curricula focused on the complexities of data breach management. Auditors must reconstruct breach events in real time. At the summit, trainees used the Case of Ramya roleplay to practice navigating these high-stakes crisis scenarios. However, technical proficiency only works if the auditor can actually access the data. If a company can hide its logs or limit the auditor's reach, the audit becomes a performative exercise. For the AIDAi to be effective, they must be legally and operationally protected from the management team they are investigating. To achieve this, AIDAi advisors propose 4 specific guardrails designed to isolate the auditor from executive influence. The first is independent scoping. Management cannot cherry-pick which systems the auditor looks at. By moving scoping power outside, companies lose the ability to hide weak links. Second is mandatory rotation. Auditors must be replaced every 2 or 3 years. This prevents the kind of long-term professional familiarity that leads to compromised reporting. Third, the auditor's appointment is approved directly by shareholders. By bypassing the executive suite, the auditor no longer owes their employment to the people they are auditing. Finally, institutional backing. By partnering with academic bodies, the AIDAi's findings gain a level of professional standing recognized by regulators and courts. Together, these rules change the auditor's role from a hired consultant into a referee who answers to the owners of the company rather than management. This evolution mirrors the history of finance. Modern financial auditing was born out of market crashes. Today's data auditing is being shaped by the systemic failures of digital privacy. The FDPPI induction establishes a roadmap where data auditing is defined by specific certifications and legal accountability, rather than ad hoc security checklists. The next step involves AIDAi formalizing these provisions, such as mandatory rotation and independent scoping, into their official professional activities. As our lives become increasingly data-dependent, security cannot rely on corporate goodwill. It requires a system of checks and balances maintained by a new class of independent professionals.